Hey crafters, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to show you how to get the most from your dies and make a fun wintry scene. Hope you enjoy! So for this card, I was inspired to use the Magic Iris add-on in a new way to create a winter scene. So first I started by blending some shaded lilac over the bottom part of the card. And I didn't worry about the bottom third because I'm going to cover that with a little bit of snow later on. So once I was happy with my shaded lilac, I went in with some Wilted Violet Distress Ink and added this above the shaded lilac and then blended the two colors together. Now I wanted this background to incorporate the new Distress Ink color, Villainous Potion, so I thought I would do shades of purple because it adds a nice wintry feel to the background as well. So I added the Villainous Potion Distress Ink on the top part of the background and then blended that in. Now in order for this to be the background for my card, I need to cover up that indentation on the top right, which is used with the Magic Iris mechanism. So I just put a piece of paper there and then traced the indentation, and then I cut it down to size. And then once I had finished cutting that, I taped it into place and then applied some distress inks on top so that it matched the background of my card. And I just used washi tape to tape it in place because I knew I would be gluing it onto my card base afterwards. Now using the inside of the Magic Iris add-on, I'm going to decorate it to make it look like a moon. So I started by covering it with Antique Linen Distress Ink, and then I used Weathered Wood Distress Oxide, sprayed a little bit of water, and smooshed this on top of the antique linen, just randomly around the outside to add some texture. Now I used the same color on the birch tree dies from Fawn, and first I just applied a bit of ink with my blending brush in random places, and then I smooshed the weathered wood onto the birch trees as well. And I did this a few times, drying the ink in between so that I had some texture onto my birch trees. And you can see how nice that texture looks on the birch trees and the moon. Now to add some snow to my background, I used the snowflake background stencils from Fawn, and I chose the one that has a lot of smaller snowflakes on it, and I just masked off some of the snowflakes with Post-it note tape. And then using some Speckled Egg Distress Oxide, I blended this over the background. And you can see how this speckled egg looks perfect on those purples. And then I just repeated this a few times until I had lots of snowflakes all around my background. And I just love the way this speckled egg stands out on the purple background. So once I was happy with my snowflakes, I added a bit metallic watercolor and just splattered this over the top. And that helps to add some more snow onto our background. And then I dried this with my heat tool. Now I wanted some snow to be on the bottom part of our scene here. So I used a piece of white paper and I just tore it roughly at the top. And then I lined it up with the same Magic Iris add-on die so that it was below the hole, and then I die cut this. And this gave a little bit of snow for the bottom part of the scene. Now before securing it in place, I'm just going to tape the moon in place with some washi tape and then decide where I want the birch trees to go. Once I'm happy with the placement of them, I'll just glue them into place. Now to make the snow stand out a little bit, I'm going to pop it up with some foam squares and then add it onto the bottom of the scene here. Now you could always use a die to cut your snow if you prefer, but I quite like the effect of an uneven snowbank. Now to add a little bit of texture, I'm going to use some Distress Grit Paste. This is in the color Snowfall, and I'm just using a bit of scrap paper to protect the background and applying this to the snow. And I don't want it to be over the stitched areas on the side, so I'm just concentrating on putting it in the middle. And then I'm just wiping off the excess and putting it away. And this gives a little bit of sparkle and shine as well as texture to that snowbank, which looks really gorgeous in real life. Now the whole card is going to be 5 by 7 inches because I like bigger cards. So I'm going to use a bit of paper that's 4.5 by 5.5, and as well as a smaller piece which is 4.5 by 1/2 inch, and cover it with that Villainous Potion Distress Ink. On that smaller piece, I'm going to use my anti-static powder, and then I'm going to stamp a sentiment that says, "Wish upon a star." And these stamps are from the Lawn Fawn set called Upon a Star. Now this Lawn Fawn set Upon a Star is very special to me because it's one of the first Lawn Fawn sets that I purchased when I started card making. So I'm also going to stamp 2 of the critters from this set. There's a large fox and a small fox, and a large rabbit and a small rabbit. So I'm going to stamp the 2 larger images and then die cut and color them. And I'm also going to stamp the shooting star. And this is with archival ink because I stamped it on the specialty holographic Lawn Fawn paper. And I also die cut the shooting star, but I didn't bother stamping that. So now I'm just gluing everything together. So I'm putting that Magic Iris add-on piece onto the Villainous Potion frame. And then I want to add my shooting star roughly in the middle there. And once that's glued into place, I can add my critters. And I'm just going to put a foam square behind the top part of the critters, and then I can add glue on the bottom part. Now because this is going on to that Distress Grit Paste, it takes a while for your glue to adhere. So what I did is, once I put my critters in place, I just put my acrylic block on top and left it there for a few moments to dry. Meanwhile, I worked on my card base, and this is a 5 by 7 inch card base. So I added my sentiment, and I wanted this to be a birthday card. So I used some of the sentiments from On the Beach. I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for birthday cards around Christmas time. So it's good to have them done ahead of time. So this says, "It's your birthday, have a happy day." And then I'm going to add some of the constellation stamps from the same Upon a Star stamp set, as well as the 2 smaller critters, the fox and the bunny. And then I'll pick them all up with my acrylic block and stamp them with a VersaFine ink. And I think that adding these stars on the inside of the card really helped to tie in the sentiment that's on the outside of the card. So now that everything's dry, I can attach my card together. So I'm going to glue the main panel in place. And I'm going to make sure that I have enough room for my sentiment strip. And then I'll make sure it's nice and straight. And then I can add my sentiment in place. And I just love this finished scene. And that Distress Grit Paste looks really sparkly in real life and just adds that extra bit of texture on the snow. And just to add some finishing touches, I'm going to use my white gel pen and just outline my critters so they stand out on that snowy background. And now you can see the finished card with those beautiful critters and the gorgeous background. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video inspiring. If you haven't already, please subscribe so that you're notified whenever I post a new video. Have a crafty day!